She'd read somewhere that it cut way down on family fighting if the goods were delegated in writing beforehand. So every family member had a page with their name across the top and a list underneath of anything they had ever expressed interest in when visiting with Mom. In the last 5 years, she got a little sneaky with the book. She'd follow you around the house with it. You like that picture? You want that picture? Scribble, scribble, scribble. You like that bowl? You want that bowl. Scribble, scribble, scribble. And we all shook her off the same way. Stop with the book already. We don't want to talk about this now. But when faced with the challenge of emptying our family home, that book was a treasure. Like the 4 pictures at the top of the stairs. I told my sister, I always liked them. I have a perfect spot for them. She'd say, check the book. Sorry, Noreen. The book says they go to grandson number 3. Darn. What about that ugly blue and orange vase? Check the book. Oh, the book says it goes to Noreen. But I want it. It didn't matter. In this settlement, if it was in that book, you had to take it. And in this particular case, when you turn that vase upside down, there was a little yellow sticker on the bottom of it with my name on it. So that made it a double whammy. And we knew this process of emptying our family home was going to be very sad for us. But early on, we were geniuses. The day of her funeral, if you came back to the house after the service, we forced you to take a swan for her swan collection. This emptied 2 curios. And what about all those floral vases she'd saved? They'd all come through the same local florist just down the street. We boxed them up and gave them back. I mean, the florist, she cried, but she cleaned them, reused them, and we saw another big old box go out the front door. We Virginia siblings, we made a pile for the California brother, and we made a pile for the Texas brother. And we said, get on back here and get your disbursements and take them back to your own homes. The Texas brother, he says he only wants one thing. When he was a kid, he found a rock shaped like an egg, and at Easter, he'd painted it blue and given it to Mom. By the time his big old truck rolled on out of here, he had 3 twin beds, a box full of every card or photo he had ever sent Mom, because of course she had saved them all, a wooden clock cut in the shape of the state of Texas, and a tiny blue egg rock. The day that we had to take our 6 senior high school pictures down off the wall, and we saw the faded paint, the shadows of the frames left behind, that was a tough day. But then the rooms began to echo, and we knew if we didn't dig our heels in, we would never get this job done. So that's when my sister decided to make it fun. She got it into her head that Mama had hidden money somewhere in the house. My mom had a ton of nice, tiny shoes. We were donating them to the senior center. Was there money tucked inside those shoes? No. We finally finished, and we walked outside around the empty house now, and that's when we saw the tire swing hanging back there by the creek, and we were exhausted. Forget it. The swing stays. About a month after it went on the market, a realtor in the area put down an acceptable bid. She was married with a 4-year-old and had just found out that she was pregnant. Yay! The house was filling up again.
That was Noreen Grimes. In 2016, Noreen retired from a range of careers, including bank teller, dental office manager, administrative assistant to a corporate trainer, with 6 years in the middle at the Old Globe Theater in San Diego. Now she uses her free time working on DIY plumbing and electrical projects. Noreen's daughter requested the blue and orange vase after her grandmother's passing. It now resides on a prominent shelf in her home. Noreen's name sticker is still in the bottom. You can see it at themoth.org. We asked Noreen what else she inherited from her mom.
I inherited way too many other notable items to mention, but I did get 5 of her multitudinous display of houseplants. Mama has been gone almost 11 years, and her Christmas cactus never fails to bloom for me on time.
We also asked Noreen what non-physical thing her mother passed down to her and her siblings.
The joy of laughing, the actual physical act of laughing. My mom had the prettiest smile, but the greatest laugh. My dad could really get her doubled over sitting at the kitchen table during family tea time, and we kids just adored hearing her bust up. We Grimes kids always look for the funny side of a situation, and we never hesitate to giggle, chortle, guffaw. We never hold anything back when it comes to laughing because Mama made it sound so good.
Our next story comes from a New York main stage at St. Anne and the Holy Trinity Church with the theme Body and Soul. Here's Jake Otteson, live at the
Moth. In January of 2018, I was living in Portland, Oregon, and it was raining. I'm on my way to a job I don't particularly care about, and I'm feeling really disconnected from my creativity. See, I'd come to Portland a couple of years before that because, well, I'm an actor and a theater maker, and I had heard that Portland is a place you can go to find inspiration. All those creative weirdos that have wound up in the Pacific Northwest. Sounded like a great idea, and I was sort of burnt out on New York City, but now I was feeling burnt out in Portland, and I was thinking, when was a time when I really felt inspired, like when I was connected, when I felt like I could bring all of myself to my work? And I knew the answer right away: Renaissance Festival. Oh yeah, that's right. For 4 summers out of college, I was an actor at the Sterling Renaissance Festival. Now, for the uninitiated, a Renaissance Festival is basically like a giant carnival if that carnival took place in 1585 Elizabethan England and the Queen of England herself is coming to town. You walk in through those front gates and it's like a wooded wonderland, a Renaissance village brimming with excitement and entertainment. You look over here and there's a juggler swallowing swords, and over there's a tavern with raucous music, and there's folks dressed all in Renaissance garb while the pirates sing sea shanties. And you just get to wander through, grab your giant turkey leg and your mug of mead, bring out your inner child, and have the best day ever. And it was part of my job as one of the actors to make the place feel even more immersive. For example, one year, I played a thief character, and you would find me off to the side of the road with my band of thieves loudly arguing about who stole the best thing that day. And then I'd see you and I'd say, "Oh, God's my knife. I do recognize thee. Thou art the most famed thief in all of England. Do come here. I am so glad to meet you. Please settle this argument for us." And I'm riding that bus. And I'm like, man, I gotta go back to the Renaissance Festival. So that night, I call up the creative director and I say, "Hey, it's been a minute, but is there any chance that you have a job for me this summer?" And he said, "Sure, come on down." And just like that, I was strapping on the old codpiece and heading back to the Elizabethan woods to make magic and find myself again. Huzzah! Now, a couple weeks roll by and I get an email with the cast list these are all the people who are gonna be sharing the summer with me, my fellow actors, and I'm looking through the list and I'm thinking, oh great, I wonder who of my old friends are gonna be there. I'm looking through, and I'm not recognizing any of the names really, and I'm thinking, okay, like, where's Matt, who played this amazing architect character that would walk around and say zany things, or my friend Mary Lane, who was an unforgettable pirate, or my friend Donna, who played this incredible body tavern wench character that would tell these Elizabethan jokes that had you like rolling in the dirt. But none of those people were gonna be there. And I started to feel kind of like nervous, like, hold up, all of my memories of that place are with these people, and is it gonna give me what I want if my people aren't there? So I go to the festival and my fears are more or less confirmed because, well, a lot of the new folks, they're right out of college, and I don't know how this math works out, but somehow they're like 10 years younger than me. They're talking about memes I don't understand. And there are some folks there who I had worked with before, but they've been doing this for decades and they got their own thing going on. And so I'm just really having trouble connecting. And I should say that we are up there for a whole month before the festival opens. And it's kind of like this intensive rehearsal boot camp. Like, you're learning to think and speak in Shakespearean English so that you can improvise in character all day. And this is usually where the cast really bonds. It wasn't really happening. And so I thought, okay, well, if not the cast, then, maybe when I get more into character, I'll feel better. So I get my costume. I'm excited for this, but I show up and they say, oh, you're playing a gravedigger. Okay, here's a giant floppy hat and an oversized vest. Now get out of here, we gotta costume the queen. Okay, and then to make matters worse, I didn't realize that as a gravedigger, I would have kind of a solo role. Whereas in the past, I'd had sort of these family units to bounce energy off of. This time, I had come seeking connection, but I was gonna just be the creepy old man by himself in the graveyard. So the festival opens, and I'm still holding on to these feelings of not exactly belonging, wondering when it's gonna kick in, but I'm doing my thing. I'm in my graveyard, which is a really nice little set. It's got a couple of crumbling graves and a wagon, and I'm there with my prop shovel yelling to people about how their grave is ready and could they remind me when they were thinking of dying so I can mark it down? That, grave digger stuff. And I still I'm not feeling it. And my friend Kristen, who works as a musician at the festival, she comes up to the graveyard and sort of pulls me aside around midday and says, hey, I have a really odd request. Could you help us with something? I go over, she's standing with a man that I don't recognize, and she says, we would like to bury Donna's ashes. And I knew right away who she was talking about. Donna was an actor that I'd worked with many years before at the festival. And sadly, I had heard that in the past year, she had been battling a terrible cancer and she passed away. And now the man there was, had been married to Donna and brought her ashes thinking we could scatter a few around in this place that she loved. But then they saw me in the graveyard and they thought, well, we could do one better and have a real ceremony in the middle of the day. And she said, who do we have to ask for permission to do this? And immediately I was like, no one. Who cares? I'm the gravedigger, let's do this. So then we had a plan. They went to get people who had known Donna, who might want to be a part of this ceremony, and I, because I'm the gravedigger, prepared the graveyard. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to dig a hole with a prop shovel, but it's like smashing the ground with a rock, and it was taking a long time, and I was getting nervous, this has to kind of look good, and then I'm looking down thinking I should make this look nicer, and I got a bunch of nice rocks that I thought were pretty, and I put them in a circle around the hole, and I'm sweating, I'm wiping my brow with that floppy hat, and I suddenly hear music, and look over to the tavern that's near the graveyard, and a processional has begun. There are about 10 people. They're dressed in different costumes. Some of them are actors, some of them are longtime fairgoers, and they're making their way to my graveyard. And in the front, there are some minstrels playing music. They're sort of kicking up dust as they walk, which adds this haze to this kind of silly-looking, somber scene. They come into the graveyard. I welcome them, ask them to, gather around the hole that I dug. And it's almost golden hour at this point, so the sun is slanting through the trees. And Michael has Donna's ashes and thanks everybody for coming and says, Donna would think that this is hilarious. And I look around at this motley crew, and we're some of us half in character. I mean, my friend Frank is there with a hat that has cartoonishly gigantic feathers, but he's taken it off out of respect. And the guy playing Sir Francis Drake is wearing these like pumpkin pants, and we're just a bunch of pretend people in a pretend graveyard in the middle of a Renaissance festival having a serious ceremony. And Michael puts the ashes in the hole as my friend Andy starts to sing Parting Glass, which is a traditional Irish funeral song. It goes, "Of all the comrades ever I've had, they're sorry for my going away." And I invite everybody, if they'd like, to take a handful of dirt and place it into the hole to say their individual goodbyes. When it comes to my turn, I think about Donna and the gift she had, how in her bright blue eyes you would see mischief dancing. And when she looked at you, or she looked at a whole audience, you felt like you were part of her family. And now here we all were. And I took my shovel and I covered the rest of the hole. And then one of the women with us, who was a longtime fairgoer, picked up a stone and placed it in the middle of that circle. And she said, "There, now it looks like a boob." Which I know is a terribly inappropriate thing at a funeral, but I am telling you that is exactly the kind of joke that Donna would make. And we are laughing because Donna is laughing with us. And I am in the middle of these people. These are my people, these people that take being silly seriously. And I realized, I had come to the Renaissance Fair like a pilgrim to a shrine, seeking this divine inspiration that was gonna fix me. But life doesn't work like that. One day you're feeling like you're never gonna fit in, and the next day you're standing in a circle of love. And because of Donna, it was like I was re-meeting the magic of that festival. And so, as we say at the end of each festival day, when we raise our glasses in a toast, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Thank you.
Merry meet, merry part, merry meet again. See you
Jake
later.
Otteson is an actor and theater maker. He says he fled rainy Portland for windy Chicago. He recently founded Hidden Wonders Immersive. It's a theater company dedicated to sparking the same sense of interactive adventure he first felt performing at the Renaissance Fair. Jake would also like to give a shout out to the Rescue Foundation, a nonprofit that helps Ren Fair folks pay their medical bills.